There's something you keep doing, and you don't even know why. You delay the things that matter most. You stay in relationships that slowly drain you. You numb yourself with noise, distraction, food, alcohol, your phone, anything to avoid sitting alone with your own thoughts. You know exactly what would make your life better, but you don't do it. You sabotage your own happiness, not because you want to suffer, but because a part of you thinks you deserve to, and you don't know where that voice comes from. But it's always there, whispering doubts, feeding fear, dragging you down just when things start to get better. And here's the terrifying truth. Most people will live their entire lives obeying that voice. There's a term for this. It's not new, it's not rare, and it's not random. It's called self-sabotage. But beneath it, something deeper lives, self-hatred disguised as self-preservation. And the worst part? It usually feels rational. You don't tell yourself, I'm ruining my life. You tell yourself, I'm not ready. It's not the right time. I'll do it tomorrow. What if I fail? What if I succeed and I can't handle it? You call it being realistic. But really, you're protecting a story that says, I'm not enough, and you would rather be right about that story than risk changing it. Friedrich Nietzsche saw this in all of us. He wrote, "Man is something that shall be overcome." But what did he mean? He meant that we are not finished, we are not static, we are not stuck, but we live as if we are. We live inside our limitations, not because they're real, but because they're familiar. The human being, to Nietzsche, is not a final form, it is a bridge from what we are to what we could be. But here's the twist. That bridge crosses straight through your own darkness. Most of us are not afraid of failure, we're afraid of transformation. Because transformation requires death. The death of who you were, the death of your excuses, the death of your identity. And identity is addictive, even if it's built on pain. Because if you've spent your whole life believing you're broken, unworthy, not smart enough, not lovable, then healing becomes a kind of betrayal. Betrayal of the person you've been, betrayal of the people who made you that way, betrayal of the version of you that kept you safe. Let me tell you something you already know but rarely admit. There is a part of you that wants to stay small, that feels safe in the struggle, that fears peace, because peace is foreign. This part will sabotage your progress the moment it starts to feel too good. You'll ghost people who love you. You'll destroy a routine that's working. You'll procrastinate the one task that would change your life. You'll find a way to fail so you don't have to deal with the discomfort of success. Why? Because to truly grow, you have to leave behind the parts of you that were built in survival, and those parts don't want to die. Psychologists have a name for this too, the upper limit problem. It's the idea that each of us has a thermostat for how much success, joy, or love we feel we can handle. When we exceed it, we unconsciously do something to bring ourselves back down. Because going beyond that limit feels like a threat. Not to your life, but to your identity. And that identity isn't always working for you, but it is always working hard to protect itself. Now let's talk about the shadow. Carl Jung believed that the parts of ourselves we repress don't go away, they go underground, into the unconscious, and from there they run the show. He wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." This is the machinery of self-sabotage, unconscious beliefs, old wounds, traumas, stories you never chose but now live by. And they will continue running your life until you have the courage to look at them, not analyze them, not judge them, see them. So how do you stop sabotaging yourself? It's not about discipline, it's not about productivity, it's not about forcing your way to the top, it's about going inward, asking, what part of me is afraid of this? What belief am I protecting? Whose voice is in my head? And most importantly, is this really mine? You have to peel away everything you've inherited, beliefs, identities, fears, and ask, what's left when I stop performing? This is the spiritual journey Nietzsche was pointing toward, the path of the Übermensch, the overman, Not someone who dominates others, but someone who has mastered themselves, someone who creates their own values, someone who breaks from the herd, someone who says, "I will no longer live by stories I didn't choose." This is not arrogance, it's not rebellion for its own sake, it's the birth of real freedom. And like all births, it's painful. Let me tell you a secret. The part of you that sabotages is the part of you that is most afraid of your power, because power brings responsibility. Responsibility means you can't blame anyone else, you can't hide behind your past, you can't keep waiting for permission, and that's terrifying, but it's also your way out. So what would it look like to stop sabotaging your life? It would look like saying yes to opportunities before you feel ready, ending relationships that drain you even if you're scared to be alone, creating even when no one is watching, resting without guilt, speaking the truth even when your voice shakes, showing up as who you are, not who you were taught to be. It would look like finally becoming the person you keep pretending you're not. But know this, you don't heal by hating the parts of you that sabotage. You heal by understanding them. You say, "Thank you for protecting me, but I don't need you anymore. I'm ready to move forward. I'm ready to grow." And that growth won't be clean. It won't be easy. It will be messy. It will be emotional. It will feel like loss. Because it is loss, loss of who you were, to make room for who you could be. So I'll leave you with this. Your sabotage is not proof that you're broken. It's proof that you're close. Close to a version of yourself you've never met. Close to a life you never believed you deserved, but you do. And the moment you stop listening to the voice that says otherwise is the moment your real life begins.